7 surprising things to stop doing to lose weight and release belly fat after the age of 45. Hey, I'm Sophie. This is one of my favorite topics, helping women over 45 to release unwanted pounds, belly fat, and get into the best shape of their life, especially at a time in our life when often the opposite tends to happen, because when we're in perimenopause and menopause, our hormones drop, most notably estrogen, then we tend to store fat differently in our midsection, and then we start worrying about belly fat and start getting belly fat, and all sorts of other things start happening in our body. And that is why I am passionate about this age, this time of your life, this stage of your life, because it doesn't have to be that way. But you do have to make some changes. You have to make some significant changes, most of us, in the way that we eat and in the way that we live. And this is what I teach women how to do. And it's enormously exciting because I get to witness women in their 60s who say that they feel better and look better than they did when they were in their 30s. I'm about to turn 60 and I feel the same way. So it's absolutely possible. Do not give up hope. Do not feel that you have to settle and think, well, this is just me. I'm a failure. I've tried 50,000 different diets and nothing ever works for me. I promise you there is hope. You just need the right mindset and the right strategy and you're good to go. So let's go over it. We've got a little bit of mindset and a little bit of strategy in this video today. So these 7 things that you want to stop doing. Number 1 is stop dieting. So it might sound really obvious, but honestly, when I'm talking about dieting, I'm like, stop trying to lose weight. Because if all your focus is on trying to lose weight, you will go into contraction. You're giving messages to your body of basically of starvation. I'm about to starve you, because dieting is often involved in calorie counting or caloric restriction or restricting an entire macro or whatever it is. You're either kind of on this diet or you're off this diet, or you're diet or program hopping. Just not a good idea. Just honestly, please let go of all of that. You might think, oh, that's all very well for you to say, Sophie, but honestly, it really is the first step. And I want to give you hope that you do not need to diet. You don't need to go on a weight loss diet. You don't need to be tracking and counting and doing all that business. You don't. So here's the mindset shift. Instead of thinking about losing weight and dieting, you really want to think about health. You want to think about age-proofing your body. Because if you really learn how to age-proof your body from top to toe, meaning learning how to age-proof your brain, your breasts, your heart, your gut, your bones, your muscles, age-proofing, improving the health of all those different systems in your body, lowering your risk of disease. If that is your focus, if you're putting your health first, your heart health, that is the number 1 killer of women over the age of 50 in America, which is why it drives me crazy with all the dieting and the ketogenic diets, in most cases, which raises LDL, cholesterol. Not a great idea if you want to lower your risk of heart disease. So stop dieting and focus on health. Put your health first. You know, I love the quote is, health is the crown on the well person's head that only the sick can see. So you really want to focus. You want to put that crown on you, and you want to take on that identity. Not I'm an unhealthy, overweight person over here and I've got to force myself somehow to get over there. And only when I'm over there and I'm that size, that dress size, that whatever it is, only then can I be confident and happy. I invite you to take it on now. Okay, have a vision of who you want to be and what that feels like, not just looks like, but feels like energetically. Oh, it feels great to feel strong and have energy and to be healthy and confident. It is a feeling. I want you to emotionalize it. And then we reverse engineer. And that means that you step into that version of you now. You become her now. Even if you're not actually seeing that reflection in the mirror or it's not reflected in your lab work now, bring it into the now. Become her now. What would that version of me do now? What would she do today? How does she wake up in the morning? How does she move? How does she speak to herself? How does she eat? But it's a lifestyle. It's a beautiful way of living, because what you do or how you perform, as it were, in one area of your life is how you perform in all areas of your life. So let's start with how you treat yourself, how your self-care is. All right, so just stop dieting, focus on age-proofing your body, focus on health, And if you switch that mindset and have a really good strategy, then you're just going to be golden. Then just watch yourself becoming the woman who you want to be. Number 2 is stop avoiding fruit. There's a lot of controversy about fruit, and there's a lot of misinformation about fruit. People freak out about the word sort of fructose. Oh my gosh, it's fructose. And here's the thing. Yes, fructose, when it's extracted and taken out, as in high fructose corn syrup and all the ultra-processed foods and the added sugars, not a good idea to be ingesting those in any way, shape, or form. For your health, for your liver, for your gut health, for your overall health, and obviously the extra calories that are going to be stored as fat. So obviously not a good idea, but fruit. So fruit has fiber in it. So it's the fiber that you really need to understand of how the fiber works in your body. The simplest way that I can describe this is a piece of fruit, whole fruit, as opposed to a fruit juice. So a fruit juice, the fiber has been extracted. So you drink that fruit juice and your blood sugar spikes and goes up, okay? Now, conversely, you eat a piece of whole fruit. It has 2 different kinds of fiber in it. It has insoluble fiber, cellulose, and it has soluble fiber, which is things like inulin and pectin. 2 different kinds of fiber. So you eat that food, you chew it, you masticate it, and then you start digesting it, and then when it gets into your intestine, the insoluble fiber forms this beautiful lattice-like layer on the insides of your intestine, and then the soluble fiber then comes in to plug the little gaps in that lattice work structure. Altogether it forms this beautiful, impenetrable, gel-like layer which delays the absorption of the sugar into your blood. It's not going to overwhelm your liver. It's not rushing into your blood. It's a slow, healthy release. Okay, not only that, but the fiber then further down in the digestive process goes into your gut and feeds the good bacteria in your gut, which creates short-chain fatty acids, which in turn helps regulate your appetite, among many other things, which I won't go into here. So all this to say is then on top of that, in that beautiful piece of fruit with all the fiber and all the water, you've got the antioxidants, you've got the phytonutrients, you've got so much goodness in there, and many of those antioxidants in fruit are correlated with weight loss. So you really want to be able to eat your fruits. Not a good idea to avoid fruits. So stop avoiding fruit. And of course, there are some fruits that are a little bit more high sugar, and it's great to obviously focus on the lower sugar fruits, such as your berries and your apples and your pears and melon, and not watermelon, but cantaloupe and honeydew melon, etc. You can have a little bit of watermelon, but enjoy your fruit. Okay, number 3, stop avoiding carbs. And this is the same kind of thing. So I've described it quite well in point number 2. Because it is really the fiber, but the topic expands out a little bit. So many people are so unbelievably confused about carbs, right? Here's the thing, you really do need to understand the difference between simple carbs and complex carbs, or simple refined carbs and complex healthy carbs. Now, obviously, when a carbohydrate has all the fiber and all the nutrients taken out of it, which is the case in white flour, white rice, everything that makes, whether it's your cookies or your chips or your baked goods or your pizza crusts or you name it, all of the kind of ultra processed and highly addictive food, then suddenly it's an empty calorie that also has a very high glycemic load. And that's going to go into your bloodstream, spike your blood, overwhelm your liver, be stored as fat. Not a good idea. But what you really do need is you need your complex carbs. And your complex carbs, such as your it's a huge, complex carbs is a massive smorgasbord of plant-based foods are your complex carbs. Everything from potatoes to whole intact grains to beans and to legumes, and the list goes on and on. But complex carbs form the mainstay of every single blue zone plate in the world. The blue zones, you might have seen the documentary Netflix, Live to 100. If you haven't, watch it. But what is common, a commonality in all of these 5 blue zones is the mainstay of every single plate is a complex carb. In fact, many complex carbs. So you do need your complex carbs. Why? Because it is your body and your brain's preferred source of fuel. It's what the fuel that it gives you energy. It makes you feel full, satiation, creates, because it's the fibers, the short chain fatty acids in your gut, which regulates your appetite with no need of Ozempic and Wegovy. And so it's a big mistake to avoid those carbs because you're going to go hungry, you're going to have sugar cravings, you're going to crave food, you won't regulate your appetite, and you're cutting out an entire macro that you were designed, your physiology was designed to eat. Do not stop cutting out any one macro. You need all 3 macros. You need carbs, you need protein, and you need healthy fats. That takes us to number 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4, stop obsessing about protein. Most Americans eat way too much protein. We are protein obsessed. I'm going to make this really simple for you. You need adequate protein. And then when I start working with clients, we can refine it into sort of more optimal amounts. Because when I say optimal, it is dependent on your stage of life, whether you are perimenopausal, postmenopausal, whether you're 40 and running a marathon, or you're 65 and you've got herniated discs in your back so you can barely move. So we need to work out what the optimal level is for you, for each individual person. But all to say is that we all need adequate. There is absolutely no doubt. Obviously, you need adequate amounts of varied protein, and coming from plant-based sources is better because then your protein isn't packaged with all the other things that it is in animal flesh, such as saturated fat would be the main thing. And the biggest deterrent for, I would say, thing that you want to avoid for health, for age-proofing your body, lowering your risk of disease, and releasing belly fat is to massively, I was going to say eliminate, which is almost impossible to completely eliminate saturated fat completely, but to minimize your intake of saturated fat. But you do need protein. You need varied sources of protein to make sure you're getting all of the different amino acids, but you want them packaged in a form that is anti-inflammatory and super, super healthy. And you do not want excess, because excess protein is stored as what? It's stored as fat. It's broken down to carbohydrates and fat, and then it is stored as fat. Most people do not realize that. They're like, I've got to eat more and more and more chicken breasts and meat and fish and protein. No, you do not. You do not. Okay, so that was number 4. Let's see where we are now. Number 5 is stop pushing the cardio. So a lot of women think when they start gaining weight in menopause, I've got to push myself. I've got to do tons and tons and tons and tons more cardio. I've just got to do more, 10,000 steps, 20,000 steps, but cardio. It's not a great idea to keep forcing yourself to do more cardio to try to lose weight or belly fat. Actually, where you're really going to get your gains and make a really big difference and change your body composition is changing the way you do cardio. Less is more. And actually bursts of cardio in a not a great big long HIIT workout, which can raise cortisol levels, but little short bursts. It's called a sit workout. Sprint interval training is really the best thing that you can do. And you can do that like as little hill repeats. You can do that on a bicycle. You can do it swimming. You can do walking. And so you want to, it's almost like you're sort of pushing your body to do something that it has to adapt to doing. Because a lot of the time we do what we're used to doing and we're maintaining. Oh, I always do an hour on the spin bike or the elliptical or the treadmill. And you're just maintaining, you're just doing the same thing over and over and nothing is changing. The other thing that is, cardio is great, obviously, for heart health. Don't stop doing it, keep on doing it, but you are going to have to change your workout. And doing strength training, like really targeted strength training, the big compound muscles in your body, your lower body particularly, is really where it's at for changing body composition and releasing belly fat. So stop really pushing the cardio and instead use that time to do sit workout and or strength training. Let's see where we are. Yeah, I've got 2 more. Number 6, stop. I have to write these down so I don't forget them. Stop going to bed late. you need enough sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, then everything is going to go sideways. You need to get enough sleep. So number six is stop going to bed so late. I work with clients all the time, and one of the things that we work on is our circadian rhythms. And one of the biggest things that almost every client I work with, they just go to bed too late. They're pushing it later and later and later. Too much to do, either they're working too late, or they can't shut their cortisol off, or they're watching TV or on a screen or on a phone or whatever. This is a major, major issue, particularly for women who are postmenopausal, when we have interrupted sleep patterns anyway. So training yourself to go to bed a little bit earlier every single night. It is training yourself, and you can train yourself. It takes a lot of discipline. It takes sort of reverse engineering, having your wind down time. There's a lot of different things that come into play in terms of getting to bed earlier and getting a really good night's sleep. But 7 to 9 hours sleep, if you're in sleep debt, then it is going to be really that much harder to release your weight and your belly fat. And finally, number 7 is stop being unkind to yourself. Stop being unkind. Stop being mean to yourself. Because the more mean you are to yourself, and we speak kindly to others around us, we try to be kind to others around us, but we are unkind to ourselves. I want you to start really considering the way you speak to yourself, the words you use. When you're looking at yourself in the mirror, when you get on the scale, when you're looking at your reflection, when you go through the day, when you make little mistakes. Much of the work that I do with my clients is mindset work, and it's becoming super, super aware of the way that you talk to yourself. And so much of the deep inner work that we do that has a profound effect on you being able to change your lifestyle and your body is talking to yourself kindly with love, curiosity, and compassion. Love, curiosity, and compassion. And developing that mindfulness that you can start seeing and watching how you're talking to yourself, the beliefs you've got, the stories that you're creating about yourself, which are often very limiting, very negative, and unkind. So that would be one of the biggest pieces, is stop beating up on yourself, stop being mean to yourself. I know it's easier said than done, and it does take quite a lot of inner work to get to a place where you can shift to coming to yourself and meeting yourself and giving yourself space. But I always say taking off the harsh lenses of the shame, blame, and judgment, and putting that to one side, and then putting on the glasses where you're looking at yourself. The filter that you're looking through is love, compassion, understanding, and curiosity about what's going on with you, why you're finding things so difficult now, why you're having a hard time, and what has to happen, much as you would speak to and communicate with a beautiful, innocent child. You wouldn't go, you're such a bad person, look at you, you're a mess up, you never get anything right, you've got to try hard, you've gained so much weight, Can you imagine talking to a beautiful, innocent child like that? You wouldn't. So we've got to stop talking to ourselves in that way and replace that with curiosity, understanding, and love. And I think the biggest word is curiosity. When you come to yourself with curiosity, then suddenly you start asking yourself really powerful questions. And when you ask yourself powerful questions, as I teach my clients to do, you get really powerful answers that come from that beautiful, deep, wise place within that really is who you really, truly are. So that's all I've got today. Those are 7 things to stop doing to release weight and to love yourself and to get into the best health of your life.